Hey, storytelling Ron here. Whew. So not only am I doing Curse of Strahd, I'm doing, Tomb of Annihilation. And I want to go over what I'm doing. I have DM'd this with my family, but I'm restarting it up with a regular group. Oh, my chair. Now, hold on a second. I gotta switch. This one's squeaky. Okay, so, let me switch chairs. Let's get this hot padded computer chair. It's less squeaky. I'm so big though and heavy. Okay. Whew. So here's what I'm doing. I'm breaking down kind of the main groups of people. And what I'm for Port Nyanzaru, I want to really do a sandboxy feel to it to give them a lot of different tugs and twists of plots and different factions. We'll see how it goes, but the way I have to understand for myself the bigger picture of all the different factions, where they kind of are in the town, in the city, and what they're tugging at. You know, what are their goals? What are their, what are they after? What are their weaknesses? So this is how I, as an experienced GM, and for myself, I'm breaking this down, and I'm going to go through it with you to. This is just focusing on Port Nyanzaru and really focusing kind of on the lower level when they first start. And I'm assuming that they're going to kind of go out and come back in kind of a thing. And let me just tell you this one that's pretty cool that I figured out early on. So one of them wants to be a, whatever it's called. I don't know all the terms, but have the muskets and the guns and the gunpowder. And I'm thinking, okay, that's fine. But of course, he's going to be in the jungle. I kind of let him know that, but he still wanted to do it anyway. And he's going to have gunpowder. He's going to run out of gunpowder. So I'm going to be very with all this stuff, just like Tomb of Annihilation is about running out of water, food. Just like I'm doing with my Ryan the Frost Maiden. I made him go through the wood. Careful every day. So for this one, I'm going to do the same thing every day, morning, night. I'm going to what do you have? Use up your water. You got to get water. And I'm not going to do that the entire campaign. I'm going to do it at those first levels, give them that fun experience. And then once they get up to a certain third, fourth, fifth, probably fourth or fifth, I'll probably, move that aside to role play it a little bit every now and then, but not that grilling thing. Not that hex crawl type of thing. So when you do play these sort of tough, grueling hex crawl or day by day, do it for a while, but then move on to the story, move on to whatever's important. So one thing I figured out, is gunpowder is made from saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal. That's pretty much all it is. I'm going to keep it that simple. But so where do you get saltpeter? Where do you get sulfur? I don't even know what charcoal. Okay. Saltpeter is, saltpeter. Let's start with saltpeter. Saltpeter can be made, urine, dried, powdered, something like that, something to that effect. So thusly, that's one way of making saltpeter. So thusly, on the edges of the refuse pit, where the neotoyogs or whatever are, and this is all waste material, remember that? So along the edges, there's going to be saltpeter, like on the edges of the slopes and stuff. It's all dried out and, there's dangerous zones too, and I'm going to certainly make this an adventure for him to even collect saltpeter. And then sulfur there's going to be some sulfur mines run by the Zentarum, because the Zentarum run mines. And so they're down here, and that's going to be a whole other part where they and they're getting it from the land of ash and smoke, which is way down along Cholt. So that'll be an adventure, and them dealing with that. And if they'll have some here. Like I think the Zentarum will maybe sell some, and maybe some of the wizards will have some. There are some like wizards guilds, but it'll be really super expensive. And then of course there's the shortage of it at some point, so that's interesting. So you can get sulfur merely by mining it. It's near volcanoes is supposedly one of the best places. So that to me, wow, that was cool. See, you learn things when you play D&D, you kids out there. Okay. So that, like how to make gunpowder. Okay. So, that's that. Now, the green ones here real quick are, this denotes. Yeah, I'm half Korean, so I never got my phonetics down. Not phonetics. Yeah, is it phonetics? I don't know, whatever. Pronunciation's down. Throne Hill denotes this hill. Temple Hill does this one, refers to this big hill. And then you've got Yukulwazi Hill is this one that has the Grand Colosseum rise above. And Mount Sibasa represents the highest um, area of the town, Port Nyanzaru, which is this one. And you really got to emphasize that this is a very three-dimensional city. There's layers of, and these things are on the cliffs. These buildings, and sadly, this, me, I do 3D maps and doodles, so go check out my website. Anyway, so these maps here don't really show the pyramid-like vistas of this city. And, there's a couple of paintings in there, I think, in the book. But you really got to emphasize that for the excitement and thrills. And these are big hills, So when you're standing here, you're literally looking at just hills of buildings, way up high. It's same with over here outside in the Malar's Throat. In this area, this is a huge ravine. This thing's really high, like 200, 300 feet. And they're looking down, and there's all those bridges and stuff. You really got to emphasize that kind of. Man, I really want to draw this one out. Kickstarter? I don't know. I just wish, I really want to see this in a three-dimensional type view, and you can go around with your little minis. That'd be really cool. It'd be way more, just amazing. I mean, this map is really well done. I'm not trying to dog the map or anything, but I'm just saying. Okay, so let's start off with the factions now. Oh, man, where do we start? I don't even know. Some of these I made on myself, Fighters Guild I made it myself, but I figured there's fighters in some sort of training next to the arena. I figured, something they, and they march them up through, they parade them up through here maybe or something, right? Let me zoom in a little more just so you guys can see here. Okay. So I figured maybe they march them up through here as a parade, and then they watch them here as a big, or goes inside here. And this is the arena. Oh yeah, this is the stadium. Now remember, these walls are looking way down, down at the fish market. So there's the arena. Obviously your players can fight here. That maybe like I would think that they would encounter the first sort of registration or betting maybe down here, and then they all rush into the thing. That's the way I'm playing it out. Remember, this is really steep stairs going up into the to the Colosseum. The fish market. The fish market is obviously right next to the main kind of harbor. I guess this is the main. Yeah, obviously this is the main harbor area, and the fish market is here. Is smelly. I'm figuring there's going to be some fish stuff here. Lord's Alliance. The reason why I put Lord's Alliance right here, this faction or whatever they're called, whatever, is because I read up on what it said in there, and I'm trying to stick to the material as best I can. They're greedy. They're loosely knit. It's the Waterdavians and the Baldur's Gate and whatever other royal. They just want to go in and take rob, take business, exploit the relics and wealth, and they just really want wealth from this area. So they're not they're not doing this for good, although they're not necessarily evil, but they're just looking for business. And what they're doing is they're allying with the merchants, the lower merchants, not the royal merchants. The royal merchants are going to be more aligned with the Yatepka Society, which is once Port Nyanzaru to be independent, okay, with Zindar. And so I'm thinking the Lord's Alliance is allying with the more business, lower end merchants and trying to bribe them and get them to give them, make deals with them to go out and find things. So that's what they're going to be in this area, in my view. Some of these merchants down here, and what I'm trying to do here is wherever the players want to go, I'm going to sort of bring in these different factions and what they do. So if they go into this area, they're going to meet up with Lord's Alliance merchants who are going to hire them. And I know the Lord's Alliance wants maps of the area, and they want to just go treasure hunting. Oh, so I'm going to have them. And I wrote down in the material for my own thing. They're gonna like set up a group of. They'll hire them to go out, so they'll pay them well, but they're going to have a veteran and a mage and some sort of mage wizard come with them, a low-level wizard that can identify stuff and that's sort of scholarly, so that they take all the relics and all the expensive stuff, and that's the deal. Obviously they can break that deal or kill them or whatever, but that's the main deal. And if the merchants know that they got swindled, they're going to come after them with another group of henchmen or whatever. So there's that. So let me go over to the warehouse district. So warehouse district, obviously pretty interesting. That there's going to be a lot of storage. They can bring the boats in and offload them in these warehouses. And I'm going to say some people live there, like up on the roofs and stuff. Like workers and people that kind of guard or watch over the warehouses. And I'm going to say the Order of the Gauntlet is here because they're not doing so well, right? They got the Camp Vengeance out in the jungle. So they're in this area because they're trying to bring in supplies. So they got like a warehouse. They're cheap, and they're just trying to bring in supplies and then take it out to the Camp Vengeance and bring in some men and trying to hire some men or whatever. But they're kind of in the sort of fumbling, bumbling, making mistake after mistake arena. So even the Ytepka society looks at them as harmless fools that are attempting to do good, but they're just making mistakes. So the Order of the Gauntlet is going to be in the warehouse area, and they're going to be, if they can get people to help them, they'll have to come to the warehouse district to help them with supplies, and then taking supplies further into the jungle to do their good in there. So there's that. Let me go with. I'm going to go down this way first. Okay, so the lighthouse and Fort Nyanzaru are pretty basic stuff. They don't. The public bathhouse, I'm going to make it so that if they go there, they're going to get either an inspiration or maybe a lesser restoration. They can get cleaned up, and just get all those bugs and parasites out. They'll have clerics in there doing stuff, maybe cost 50 gold or go, donation to their god or whatever. And so that'll give them some healing in that sense, and maybe, an inspiration. Customs and taxes, I think, is going to be part of the Lord's Alliance. These guys are going to be greedy. They're going to look for those secondhand deals through the Lord's Alliance. They work for the merchants, but they have that underhanded deal with the Lord's Alliance. So there's that inroad of that. And I think that I think the party maybe if they're small, no big deal. But if they come in with a lot more stuff, I think I might have an agent of the customs and taxes tell you have to go there because we see you have a lot of stuff, and and then we have to tax you. So see what happens there. And of course, if it becomes bad, then the Lord's Alliance person says, well, we can make you another deal with our friends of the Lord's Alliance. Something like that could happen. The Hall of Gold is they worship some god. I didn't. You know what? That one let me pause. I kind of forgot that one. What I was doing with that one. Okay, so the Hall of Gold. This is interesting. The chief priest. Sibon Sensei, Mother Prosperity. So she's like one of the she's almost like a celebrity, and she goes parades around in a big a show, of a sedan chair and drummers and singers and dancers and throws out copper coins to the poor. So she's here, and I'm thinking she's probably has alliances with Lords of Alliance. And then she can give the information about anything else, about whether or not she even wants to talk to anyone. But she's in the Hall of Gold. She'll probably lead a procession around the arena. She'll lead a procession before the dinosaur run. You got to do something like that. Give them maybe a goal to go talk to her, but have her show up for something. So she's gonna have her procession. She's gonna have all the feathers and she's on the sedan thing, and I don't know if she's on a dinosaur or being held by strong, robust men, but definitely have her show up somewhere. Okay, just had breakfast. Okay, so what else? The dye works. I don't have anything for the dye works. I am going to have this area with the inns and taverns be more quiet and rich, not like below the merchant villa area, but more quiet and inns, and like Volo stays here. Because it's nice taverns, nice inns, there's pretty good private security guards patrolling the area, and I feel like that's what this is. But whether it is or not, I don't know. But I feel like it. So Volo will be in this area if they come into this area, especially if they go to the Red Bazaar. So this is all where they get their camping gear. They can get like little food, lots of meat, dinosaur meat, especially since they probably get it from out here. And I think Volo is very interested, in the culture of these people, and he loves their food, so he probably goes here mostly. Again, I don't have anything for the dye works. Obviously, dye is pretty important. I just think this is kind of the business area. The Flaming Fists are going to be here. The reason I put them here, this looks like a Flaming Fist kind of thing, but also they've got Fort Balarian or whatever it's pronounced up north. So I feel like they want to be separate from Port Nyanzaru. They want to go, hunt. They're after Omu. They're after Artisimber. in the Winter Ring, so they don't want to deal with Port Nyanzaru, and they're ham-fisted on in going out into the jungle and finding that guy, and finding Omu, and finding the secrets, and and maybe countering Lord's Alliance, and they don't care about all the dealings of Port Nyanzaru, because they're and I also am going to make these guys mean, man. I'm going to make a bunch of NPC groups of Flaming Fists, and I think they're going out killing adventurers, because the adventurers don't have the charter. They don't even know about the charter, and the Flaming Fists aren't going to even discuss it with them. They're just kill them then if they don't have the charter, and because they want their gold, they want their they're just after whatever. If you have a charter, they'll honor it, because they're supposed they got to make sure they can get that. The captain doesn't want to hear of any people getting killed by if they bought a charter already. So there's that. Now, if the players want to come out here somehow for some reason, deal with them. I got to figure that out. How would they? Someone in there maybe talking about them or something. Especially one of the guides. I don't know. I don't know what the rest of this area would be, but I definitely, it looks interesting. So I probably want to build up on that. It's really good to zoom in on this stuff, And I got this image, I think, either off the internet or I have the book, or through my Roll20 where I bought it. I might have screen grabbed it off of my Roll20 thing. I don't remember. Zentar. I put the Zentarum here. I figured, look, they're going to be out there in the the poorer area where they can hide, and they got this escape route in case the zombies come. They got their own. They own most of the piers, and their issue, they do the mining, right? So they go out to their mining operations. They guard everything, so they kind of want this mobility, and also they want to be away from all of the city power. And they want to hire all these poor people as guards, right? They want to exploit these people, train them up as guards, and then rent them out to the rich. And they want to stay somewhere where they can hide their treasure, their loot, their So they're out here, the Zentarum. So if the players come out here, they're going to encounter the Zentarum. Now the Zentarum leave the dinos alone because of the stakes of the merchant villa. So the merchant villa kind of owns the northern end of here, the Zentarum the southern end of this, or whatever direction this is. So obviously the dinos are here, and the dino race. So the dino race, now some of these dinos are obviously for cattle, and then some are for racing. And they're gonna, when the races start, the dino races, they're gonna bring them through here, parade them through here for the poor people, and the people on the walls can watch. This is whenever they have dino races, then people can get up on the walls, the castle walls. Then they're going to start the race here. Here's the way I'm going to do it. I don't know. And by the way, I haven't done any DM's Guild, and I know there's others that have done a ton of info on this, but I'm just doing this off the top of my head, or reading the book, just reading the book, and then coming up with what I want to do. I mean, I've seen some videos and stuff. I just, so I might have gotten some info off of other things, but anyway, I'm going off of, if you're a DM and you want to create something, how do you flesh it out? How do you build it up? And so here's how I'm doing it. So the dino race is going to come through here, and I'm looking like, how would they have the dino race? Where would they have it? I know I've seen people do maps of it, but I'm going to do, here's my map, or the way I'm going to do it is they start here and they're going to finish here, and this is obviously the Red Bazaar is cleared up for the dino race. They start here, they rush through here. This is going to be the normal part of the race for the players. So when I do DC rolls and stuff, it's going to be normal. And then when they get to the fish market, they got to race through the water areas. That's cleared out for the dino race, and so there's going to be these water traps or whatever, and that'll be some kind of interesting DC rolls. Then they're going to race along here, through here. This is going to be a normal one. Now, they got to go up these stairs, and they have red flags and decorative barriers all along the way. So I'm really going to describe it as whenever they have a dino race, it's all decorative. They create a wall so the dinosaurs won't run through the walls. Maybe there's a certain color they hate, like purple or something, and then they follow the red though, like blood, or like a matador. They'll follow the red, and there's going to be like like the bull run in Spain, where the guys, or whoever, well, guys mostly, they run like crazy, and will they survive or not? And they do that here too, along this upper hill here, or up on the top of the hill here. And people are everywhere. They're on the roofs and the balconies, and they're on the walls cheering and throwing stuff. And some of them are throwing rotted fruit. You could even have a roll like where some dinosaur gets hit by rotted fruit and freaks out or gets angry. So they're going to rush along here, and then the people that make it here are going to run into this corner, and there's doors they can run through. Like that's their victory party, is to get to this door. And then the dinos have to come down here. Oh, if you can see it down here. Oh, I should zoom in. Down here, and they come around. Very dangerous turnaround here. A lot of purple dye covering this area so that the dinosaurs avoid it or something. I don't know what color, but I'm just saying. And then they run through here, and then this is the last run. And the finale would come out, at the end of the bazaar here. And people are cheering, and they can see from all the walls here. So it's a big event to have that like that. Okay, so that's my dino race, and I'm going to use, all kinds of DC rolls and stuff like that for that. So let's go up to the Temple of Tomorrow, Marlar's Throat. So I'm going to use this area of the Emerald Enclave. They're the druids and the rangers and the tree huggers. So they tend to hang out here because it says in there they have hidden outposts all throughout the jungle. So I could see hermit type druids and rangers out there trying to see what's going on, rescuing people they can, avoiding the Flaming Fist. That could be another tie-in to the Flaming Fist. The Emerald Enclave hate them and warn others of them. And they will watch this area as best they can, but of course they're limited. And what I'm going to have happen early on is I'm going to have a zombie or an undead attack, right? And everyone's going to go in a panic and they're all fleeing in. But it's going to be like a false alarm, because it is a zombie attack and they're able to kill them, but it's not a huge horde. It's just enough to be a threat, but not enough that it's like the epic, undead one. And what's left of the zombies is sort of lingering around this area here. And so if some low-level character, a low-level group can come in and try to rescue the Temple of Tomorrow, because this is all stone and the zombies are around it. And I'm going to have it so that they can kind of do some fun stuff there. And if they attack the zombies, then maybe a couple of ghouls come out and get them from the bridges or whatever, if they're on the bridges. But that'll be a fun little low-level adventure for them to clear out the last of the undead in that area. So the Grand Souk is a market, obviously and it's got most of the merchant villas items for sale there. And this is a merchant, Jessamine. She's a rogue, and she's has assassins for hire and deals in poison. So this upper area here is to me her area. She likes to be. This isn't in the book, by the way. They don't really tell you exactly where the merchants live. I don't think. Based on what I saw there, I didn't see them designating any of these villas. But these are the merchant villas up here on the hills. So this one I'm going to say is hers because she wants privacy. She's got her little training area or her little safe area for doing her thing. And so that's her. And I'm assuming she'll probably have some little secret pathways to get out and get, rare ingredients from some of the different sellers. And I'm assuming too, there's going to be all kinds of ingredients in this place to buy things. So that's her area. Role-playing wise, one of my characters is going to be in a poison, so I think Jessamine's going to be a major factor in there. And that Joe Ball has got the guides. He's the one that's in charge of the guides and the sellswords, which are mercenaries. I got to look up more on these sellswords. I think I'm saying it right. Well, I think the term is for mercenaries, based on what I saw. I don't know. I'm not familiar. I know I'm not familiar with the books. Drizzt or whatever. I'm not familiar with all that stuff. And I looked up sellswords on the Faerun wiki, the Forgotten Realms wiki, and it just said they were mercenaries or something. I don't. Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, I don't know what the sellswords are. It's obviously a series in the Forgotten Realms, but I don't know what it refers to exactly. But I'm assuming some sort of mercenaries, but maybe close to guides. But anyway, so Jabal is the one that's in charge of guides and sellswords, and it's obviously separate from the Zentarum, which are mercenaries and guards and security guards or whatever. I guess sellswords are a little more advanced. He lives in this area. I don't really I don't know if he's going to play a major role in this or not. The Golden Throne is where all the merchants meet, so that's probably, if anything, the players will meet the merchants at the Golden Throne if they ever get to that point where they can meet the merchants. This is sort of like their court, city town hall or whatever. So Wakanga obviously is one of the major merchants they meet. He sells magic items. He's the one that's with Syndra Sylvain or whatever her name is. And the Harpers stay at Wakanga's. And the Harpers are, based on what I can read, are somewhat ineffective, in figuring out what's going on, the death curse. They want to find, I don't know if they want to find Artus Cimber as well. I think they do. But they're obviously going to hire, if they see that a group is being successful and returning with stuff and getting more info, then at that point they'll probably, try to help them and give them maybe some magic or something. So Ifin Talaroa does the mount, so I figured he'd be in this grassy area, just maybe have some up there. Whether they'll meet with that person or not, I don't know. Kayawatha does the wine exotic, so if there's and I figured this tent here, he probably has little dinner parties all the time, pavilion type thing. I figured if the characters get successful at something, then they could be rewarded with a visit to his parties with Wakanga. Ikena Afa, I don't know, sells gear. I figured put him here, or her, whatever, here, because he likes to have access to the Temple of Gon, because that's a Temple of Craftsmen, and maybe there's a bunch of good craftsmen along this area here where they sell gear. And he's in control of all of them, so that's kind of interesting and neat, I think. Zindar. So Zindar is going to be obviously anywhere along the harbor ward. He's part of the Utepka Society. I just put this here just to remind myself that they're everywhere. And Zindar is obviously going to be yelling, and he casts spells to calm beasts or to message or to figure somebody out. But he's going to want to hire them if he feels they're able to take on the pirates. And the pirates... So another interesting thing is that he wants to get rid of the pirates. The merchants want to get rid of the pirates. And I'm thinking the Zentarum want to either convert the pirates or get rid of them as well. Because, they got mining operations and woodcutting camps out there. And if they got ships having to go around the coast and the pirates are going after them, that's a problem. I'm also thinking the pirates probably have their own faction here and are spying on the Zentarum so that they know what they're up to. Because the pirates have been here longer than the Zentarum. Is my view on that. Okay, so I think is that it? Is that all? Temple Savras, it has that one nice priest and the one Inieta cleric, the young one who wants to go out, as a guide. So that's Temple Savras there. Temple of Soon is a sun god or something. I don't have more info on that. So, and okay. So Executioner's Run is this thing. And I would really like to flesh this out more, the course. My other people I played DM, they weren't interested in it at all. They dealt with a better, getting a bet taken care of, but anyway, I haven't really delved into that. Beggar's Palace, I don't have anything for this really. I think that if I can get them arrested, they do something bad, I'll get them arrested, and then they'll have to do the Executioner's Run. This is obviously a market for the poor. So I don't have a lot on that area right now. But anyway, so yeah, that's how I'm breaking this down, and just trying to see how much I can get them to encounter, how much I think they'll sort of, find this spider web of intrigue. Hopefully this will all be interesting to them. Here's the statue. Nabisu, the Great King. Not much info on this, just that there's a statue there of some old king. I don't know if I'll add any more to that. Some maybe interesting magic-y thing or something. I don't know. But that's it. Okay, so that's it's a video on how I'm kind of breaking down Port Nyanzaru. Now, there's also, what really helps flesh it out too, is there's a whole list of adventures at the beginning, like side quests. They all take place in Port Nyanzaru, a lot of those. And at the back, look at the random adventures. There's, I think, a Port Nyanzaru section on that. And that'll give you some other ideas for adventures in Port Nyanzaru or around Port Nyanzaru. So there's so much here to do. There's so much you can just, create your own little adventures in here, your own little factions, or how you think each of these intrigues kind of plays out. So just this right here could easily get them up to 4th, 5th level, without even having to go out into the jungle. Yeah. And the one other thing, I think I'm going to try to do a video on making an NPC group. A very quick and easy way to do it. Look at my 357 video for making quick NPCs um, um, that that just match the level of the characters and use them. And the other thing all you have to do then with 357 is you make a challenge, a third level NPC group versus say third level low level party, and then you can just add some basic spells and basic feats onto them, and voila, you have a pretty in-depth party that they are NPCs that they have to deal with, and that those NPCs belong to any of these factions, based on whatever they are. So I'll try to make a video on that too, hopefully at some point here soon, that how to just quickly make these interesting little NPC groups that they can encounter and deal with. Like especially the Flaming Fists. These would be a bunch of fighter types. Zentarum, a bunch of thieves. Obviously Emerald and Enclave would be druids and rangers. Not that you want to fight them, but Harpers would be more wizards. Oh, I forgot the red wizards up here. So the red wizards, I put them up here because I figured they want to be left alone, and they have their goal, and they don't need to be bothered by anybody else. So when the red wizards arrive, they come to the secretive temple here, and then they go out to the heart of Abtao with what's her name, the lich elf. They got to her, and then then they're looking for Omu. And at this stage in the story, I don't know if they're at Omu yet or not. I would say no, but they're getting closer, and she knows it's over there somewhere, something like that. I don't know. I figured the red wizards up there. Here's the funny thing I'm gonna do about the red wizards, though. Everybody knows they're there, even though they think they're secretive. Why? Because they keep wearing their red robes, and they're idiots that way. They're totally like, we are secretive and sorry, but they wear these red robes. And so they're constantly walking through to here, and all the merchants just see them go over there, whatever, let them do their thing. They don't care. Maybe the Atepka is more interested in maybe going over there and seeing what they're up to, which could be a high-level adventure in itself, I think, to scout out this temple. Or not temple, place or mansion or whatever. But I think they all know they're there, and then they could bring it up, and if they think the players are up to it, they could bring it up to them and say, "Do you know if the Red Wizards of Thay?" Well, they're right over there, and we're curious about what they're up to. So there could be that kind of a thing too. So anyway, all right. So that's my thing on Potent Nyanzaru and how I and breaking it down and getting the bigger picture and figuring out how I want to sandbox this with the player characters and what they may or may not want to do. And another thing is I got to figure out the gear. I got to figure out all the gear, like what kind of they need, where they can get it. I want to go into that personally as a DM and see and play that out. All the stuff they got to buy, and the insect repellent, the water gathering things, all that kind of stuff, just for the fun of it, and really, really test them on that jungle. For the first through fourth level, I'm gonna really, the jungle is itself going to be a creature that they have to overcome. An epic creature they have to overcome, survival. And that's fun to play. It's fun to role play that kind of stuff too. You want to play that kind of environment. And remember, roll like a 1d6, and whenever you roll a 1, it's a huge rain for 6 to 8 hours, and they got to sit there and find shelter, and nothing attacks them either. Because the rain is so heavy that nothing can move. Like everything just stops for that. That's actually a peaceful time, And let's see what they got. They got enough water. Are they got to get the water? Are they going to, stay maybe not dry, but at least keep the gunpowder dry? And then how do they comfort themselves? And if they don't describe anything well, man, you can give them a level of exhaustion after that rain. That they've exhausted themselves. So that needs to come into play as well. All right, so sorry, I'm babbling on because that's what I do. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you, give you some ideas, and just have fun, have whatever way you want to DM it.